Zimbabwe is doing something interesting. Yeah, they just launched a gold-backed digital currency. Yes, they are calling it ZIG, Z-I-G. This is the second time they're announcing that they've launched.
Mr. Ezi must be proud.
This is the second time they're announcing that they've launched a gold-backed digital currency. They did that in 2023. I remember doing like an explainer on this is how it works and stuff like that. Still the same thing. I don't know why the announcement is coming again. Funny enough, a lot of the reports didn't point out that
The reason behind it.
yeah, one was done
earlier.
last year. Yeah. So yes, that is what they are doing. So naturally, the question of most people is
Why?
be what's your question? You got what question?
Okay,
What
so
the-
this is it.
Mm.
Zimbabwean dollar has been like on a very downward trend over the years.
Yes, you can add 3 varies actually.
Eh?
The very you should add.
Okay,
3
very,
Yeah,
Like
very,
it's
very
it's been like nose diving
Yes.
over the years, hyperinflation and all that. And then this is not the first time they are having their currency backed by
like creating another
Ex-
currency.
exactly. But
This is the
another
6th time actually.
And it's a case of, so what has happened over 5 iterations of this changing thing, and then you are now say, okay, yes, let's
Okay, so
do good now. It's just
yeah, so they were never able to like solve their currency issues. So like you said, the last one they created was just 5 years ago, right? The Zimbabwean dollar. Right? They created it so that they will have a local currency that works. But 80% of the time, people are still using the USD. They're using euro.
when
They're
your
using
local currency
Indian
has no
rupees.
value.
Yeah, and the reason is because the currency kept losing value over time. I think right now,
It's 36,
$1 is
30 something K.
36,000 Zimbabwean dollars.
6,000.
Yeah, that's really bad, right?
You work, like Nigeria, you
Even
work minimum
back-
wage and they give you $1.
back in I think after the whole economic issue that happened in 2009 2008, it was so bad that they had to create a $100 trillion
Currency.
denomination.
Single notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that time.
Yeah.
It was probably the first time I was introduced to anything in economics as a child.
Mm.
So my church had this bulletin. There were like some Zimbabwean missionaries that came to Nigeria, and then they used to tell these wonderful stories of having to buy bread and you have
Yeah,
to carry like a lot of
packing.
money.
Hmm.
It just felt ludicrous. Sorry, it's not AI generated as you can see, but it felt really,
Can't say.
really.
Yeah.
It
Go on.
felt really,
The,
really.
the volume of
really-
money you are taking to
That's
buy
crazy.
bread is
It's
bigger than the bread you are
bread.
buying.
And I'm thinking about it like these days now that
And you are carrying wheelbarrow to go and buy
Yes.
stuff.
Okay,
yeah,
so
they've been suffering for a while.
yeah, a very long while, and currently the Zimbabwean dollar is not what the paper is printed on, basically.
No,
So
it's not.
this new gold-backed digital currency is an
Sick.
attempt to save their local currency. Right now, foreign currencies, that's what people are using in Zimbabwe. So this basically just means that the new currency, the value will be dependent on the market value of gold, right? So that's what it means when you back a currency with something.
But then
right,
it's
so the-
virtual.
Yes, it's going to be a virtual currency because their central bank governor said one of the main problems that they've had was the amount of money it takes to print currencies, right? So this takes away that problem of printing currency. Yes, but there are some issues. So I want to be so. I want to give Tim Gozima Yinka an opportunity to ask some questions that they probably do not know or that they have about this Zimbabwean digital dollars.
Okay, so it's okay. So now I said it's virtual.
Yeah.
So I just checked the cell phone penetration in Zimbabwe. It's 98.5. That's not smartphone, no. And I believe smartphone is probably going to be lower than that. And when you make it virtual
Mm.
for any country in in Africa.
Mm.
Even Nigeria, as high as we've gone in terms of technology and mobile internet and mobile smartphone penetration, going something fully digital, it's really not the way to go, especially for something like currency.
That's a very good observation. I did not even think of that. So what this basically means is So I think financial
you're going to
excluding
exclude a lot of
a lot
people,
of people.
from the financial system. We're going to say, yes, we are moving away from physical and we are doing virtual. I mean, you are, let's say we are a case of, yes, if it's a case of, you can do it on a feature phone.
Yeah.
But if you
They are
can't do
going
it
to-
on
they
a
are going to
feature phone,
yeah, they will have it on a feature phone.
if you
They
can't
just
do
have
it
to.
on a feature phone,
Mm.
anyway, in our series, it's supposed to be on feature phone anyway.
It is
So
now on
that
feature
own
phones. It
penetration-
now has USSD.
Yeah, that own penetration.
That's a
is-
story
is
for another
another.
day.
Yes, that's another
Yeah,
conversation
but-
entirely.
Interestingly, that's not the only issue it will have. So another thing a lot of people have pointed out is the gold they want to use to back
Back it.
it. Number one problem. I think that they have about a ton, which means
And
that's
their reserve.
yes, that's about $22 million. $22 million.
Would that
I
be
know Series A
enough
companies
to-
that raise more than that. That's one. Even USDT, USDT is one company
Yeah.
that backs their own digital currencies with the
US
dollar. They have about $100 billion.
in their own
In reserve.
reserve.
So just as an aside, has Zimbabwe considered getting acquired?
I mean, at this
by,
point,
by a neighboring South African country.
I mean, I think South Africa is close. They can, even if they're not like sharing borders.
Yeah,
I
you
think
can
they're sharing
say-
borders. I'm
can
not
say
sure, but
Accra
they
be
can.
importing and
Yeah, they can be
exporting.
administering them from a distance.
Actually.
It's
And
something they should
because-
and
consider.
another
Call
problem
me.
they could, even if they had enough gold to back that currency, another problem in it that some economists have pointed out is before, I mean, a lot of currencies currently nobody is backing currency with gold now, right? But back in the
It
days,
was
like,
common in the
it
early
was-
19,
it was common.
1818s
Yes.
and then,
and then
into the
back
early
then when it was
90s.
common, they kept the price of gold stable, right? Because a lot of countries' currencies were backed.
Back by it.
But now that it is no longer backed by gold,
The flight is
the value of gold, anytime
fluctuation.
anytime it becomes volatile or it changes, it will still affect that currency. So there are a lot of things that are
Yeah,
backing
there's also the question of sustainability. You said they have about
22 million.
22 million. So how long would that 22 million
People are saying-
last them?
I think someone said about 3 months.
3 months. So that means between that, before that 3 months ended. So that means they have to figure out
A
a
way.
way to increase their reserve. So it's about sustainable.
They should go and borrow gold.
It's not, who is going to borrow? It's not sustainable, except if it's a case of, yes, they have
I just
gold that they can mine, and then within that period of time,
Yeah.
but then it's still the sustainability is still bigger. It looks
Yeah,
like it's
and-
not a thought out. I don't know.
people have pointed out that there seems to be a lot of confusion within the government because this is your 6th attempt,
You
right?
so you are doing a lot of things,
Yeah,
and then
the
it's
last
not
one was just 5
changing.
years ago, less than a decade, and it has already gone through. So I don't know. African countries come together. Let's see what we can do for.
South Africa
We are also
can
facing
just-
our own actually.
No, South Africa can easily acquire them. It's very simple. Like, take them under your wings, maybe administer them for the next 20 years, and now return them back to their owners. Because
That's basically
the US
3 months,
colonization.
the 3
again.
months is,
The US and UK have colonies that they govern that is not. even
Uh-huh.
considered.
So what's the- or
it's
Nigeria
also
can-
as a colony.
Nigeria can make a move.
Nigeria to add another problem to the Ukraine problem.
Mm.
I mean, we are giving people electricity. What's there if you are not giving them money? Might as well do that.
It's not Nigeria that have lights.
We have to say we don't have light, but we are giving people.
All right,
electricity.
all right.
Big other stuff.
Exactly.
We have looked at yes, from looking at Zimbabwe's gold
I really
currency.
wish their currency really.
Yeah. I mean,
should be around.
I wish.
Think about
I
it
can't
too.
imagine it.
If you go as a Nigerian,
Mm.
I mean, you be a baller. Like you be
Mm.
balling like
Can you like 500k?
what's 500k, 20k.
All right. Let's go to the final
The
story.
government has shut it down.
As you can see, my guests,
The president
they are not
will-
cooperative,
The
right?
president will receive you at the airport.
Thank you very much. Moving on. Thank you.
You're investing in there.
I'm telling
Sorry.
think about it.
You are
The
making fun of
president-
the whole country, sure,
But I mean, if you see the truth now, you say it.
That's why they drag
If you
other
take-
African countries drag people on Twitter.
They
Alright, this is what it
they
is.
should fix the economy first before dragging me.
You're bragging him about your own economy.
I'm Nigerian. A Zimbabwean can't be chatting to me. Come on.
All right. You have a point, sir.
To listen to the full episode of this podcast, visit podcast.techpoint.africa or search for Techpoint Africa Podcast on your favorite podcast platforms.